Hey everyone, I just want to give you a quick heads up. This was supposed to come out during the first week of February, but that week I became an uncle and a couple other things happened and it sent me back. It is coming out a little bit later and I do apologize for that and I wish I got this out sooner. Life just got in the way. But with all that being said, I hope you really enjoy this interview. I had a blast talking with Justin and the Roaring Game is now out. You can go ahead and watch it on Apple TV Plus. But without further ado, let's just get right into this interview. I was going to ask you, what was it like growing up in Canada?
Um, Growing up in Canada I come from a small town too, on Vancouver Island. And all I wanted to do was to get the hell out of that town. I grew up with a lot of the guys that were basically the same guy that I play in the Roaring Game. I just base that on every guy I grew up with. And so if you see the movie and you see my performance, you'll understand why I wanted to get away from that town.
So yeah, from the trailer, I had seen just little bits of you, and I talked to Darin on Thursday, I believe, last week, and he was talking a little bit about your character. And one of my questions I had for you was, what was it like wearing fake teeth and having to talk with like fake teeth in?
It was a risk that I took. You know, I took a little bit of a break and went and lived down in Mexico for a bit, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna act anymore. And it wasn't. It was just like there's not a lot coming in, and and I'm not having that much fun doing movies. And then when I read this movie, I was like, this is really fun. Like this could be really fun. And I was also a Mickey Rourke fan. Um, And so I was like, oh yeah. And then I went to Rhode Island and I met the Verdis and a really cool family. I really like working for them. But when I read the script, when I read Tommy's script, the first thing it said about Troy Sampson was he's got a big fake smile with pearly white teeth. And I was like, well, why is he smiling like that? Why has he got big pearly fake teeth? I always kind of approach it like a detective. Like I'm like, why pearly white teeth? He's a hockey player. I was like, oh, he got a puck in the mouth. Those are like his teeth are missing. And I was like, so he must have fake teeth. So I I just ordered some Amazon fake teeth. They were like $20. I put them in and I was like, oh, these are pretty funny. And then I started just kind of talking like these Canadian hockey players from Edmonton with the teeth in. And I started talking to a lot of my friends that are ex NHL players, and a lot of them do have fake teeth. And there were moments where the teeth kind of fell out, and I was like, this could go really bad on set, or this could be really funny. And I came to Rhode Island, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it because I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then like, and then I was like, also like, I'm not gonna do the Canadian accent either. I'm just gonna play it normal. And then I was like, why do we do movies? Like we do movies to take risks. I want to. I was like, I'm gonna crash and burn. I'm gonna fucking crash and burn like worse than Dragon Ball Z. I'm just gonna drive this motherfucker right down into the ground. And so I came on set and I did the Canadian accent. I popped the fake teeth in, and and it worked. It totally worked. If you see the movie, I was like, oh, I'm really happy that I took that risk. And that's kind of what I want to do now with more of my parts that I do is take more risks, uh, do bigger transformations, fail a little bit more. I think as a young actor, I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to look dumb. I didn't want to look silly. And this was like a movie where Tommy was like, do whatever you want, bro. And then every time I saw him laughing or anyone laughing, I was like, I just want to do more of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, Darren said that he said that whenever you were doing it, like if you had any like doubts or reservations about it, he's like, no, 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 keep doing it. Like, and when I saw it in the trailer and I heard you talking, I was like, oh, he's turning it up. Like everything about it, I was just like, this is perfect. Like it was just it fit the character so well. I'm seeing the movie on Thursday, so hopefully I get to see all of it. But I'm excited, and I can't wait to hear it and see it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let me know what you think, man.
Well, for sure. And you kind of already spoke about it, but what drew you to this film?
I think what drew me to this film was they just sent me a comedy role, and I don't get that a lot. And I had also been tinkering, writing a piece kind of on a Canadian, an alcoholic Canadian. And so I kind of had this character a little bit in me that I wanted to explore. And so when I got it, I was like, ooh, I could kind of explore this character that I've been writing and check it out in this movie. And so it wasn't, I don't think Tommy knew I was going to play the character like this, but it it was just kind of like the right thing at the right time. And I just wanted to do a silly movie,
Yeah, that's awesome.
you know.
I mean, like when I saw the trailer, the first thing I thought of this film was like, oh, this is gonna be like Kingpin, or like so many of those classic like late '90s, early 2000s, even '80s, a little bit like comedy sports films, and
Yeah.
it has that feeling to it. So I didn't know if that was already there from the get go, if that had that feeling.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was like, oh, these are these like silly 90s movies like American Pie and yeah, Kingpin and just kind of, all the Adam Sandler movies. I was just like,
Yeah.
we kind of like I was just like, we need more of these movies. Like everything's gotten like real serious and like also just real predictable. Or I was just like, sometimes people just want to watch a movie to laugh with a girl they're trying to impress, or they just want to smoke a bowl and just escape into like comedy. And I was like, this is great. At the end of the day, it's like a lot of people are shooting for the Oscars. It's like, but at the end, but like we can't forget that we're just entertaining. Some people just are exhausted from their job and want to come home and just laugh at stupid things.
Say I've been saying this for years. I feel like we need more Jim Carrey movies, like '90s Jim Carrey movies. Like again, they were. I mean, I was born in 2003, so I can't really speak on what they
Yeah,
were back then. But growing up and watching them, I just remember laughing endlessly at watching Ace Ventura for the thousandth time. Like,
amazing. Yeah, they're so funny. And then even Jim Carrey got really
yeah,
serious. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think in a way, comedy will is kind of having a resurgence right now.
I for sure would say that as well. Um,
Mhm.
so what was it like having to build the relationship with Fivel Stewart's character, Kelly, in the film, having to play opposite of Darin essentially?
Oh, Fivel and Darin were so sweet, so cool. Um, yeah, yeah, they were great. They were like total pros, and everyone just had a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, they're really easy actors to work with, and pros, and yeah, they're great.
I say even talking with Darin last week, he seems like a really great guy and he was really easy to talk to as well. So like it also feels like that comes across on screen too.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually hard sometimes to act with Darren because we just kept laughing so hard. Like it was hard to keep a straight face because we were just trying to crack each other up. I really like Darren. I really like Darren, but we couldn't stop laughing sometimes, and I was like, dude, we need to just get it in the can.
With that too, how long was your shoot on this film? Because I know Darin said that they did all the curling stuff towards the end of the film and did all the regular principal stuff first. So like how long was your shoot on this film?
Oh man, I think I was there for 10 days.
Yeah,
It wasn't long. And the whole shoot, I think, was like 2.5 weeks. It was really
yeah.
quick,
I remember him
really
saying that too.
quick.
I was surprised how quickly it was all done and over with.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, like how efficient, if you have the right crew and the right production company, how you can actually make a film. It it doesn't need, it doesn't need to be 2, 3 months, I guess there's just at the end of the day, it's a camera, it's some crew, it's an actors, and that's indie filmmaking.
If you had three words to describe Troy, what would they be?
He's a sex addict. He's uh delusional, and he's uh he's not here for a long time, but he's here for a good time.
Awesome. uh, the last roaring game question I have for you is, if you had 30 seconds to pitch this film to someone to just get them in the theater to go see it, what would you say to them?
It's it's curling, but with The Sopranos. It's like The
That's awesome.
Sopranos meets curling with a bunch of great 90s actors.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about Shameless and Weeds. If I don't ask you about Weeds, my wife's gonna kill me, so I have to ask you about that too. Um,
Oh, nice.
where do you think Jimmy, Steve, Jack ended up after season 5?
I think it just depends. I mean, they left it open-ended because they wanted to see, they wanted everyone to have their own interpretation. Like, is he dead or did he just move on? And I think pessimists will be like, oh yeah, he's dead because he didn't change. But I think that that whole show and their dynamic was a dysfunctional, enmeshed, classic love addict, love avoidance sort of unhinged love story, which is, you know, if you're unfortunate, you'll have one of these in your life, and I've had one of these in my life, and you either die from it and get completely destroyed, or you change and you don't choose somebody like that ever again. And so I would like to think that Jimmy went broke, he went to ground zero, started dating somebody that was more appropriate to his upbringing and healthy for him. And maybe he went back to medical school, and maybe he's a doctor back in Chicago in his hometown, and he's dating somebody that's healthy, that's not as broken as Fiona was. Um, I like to hope that he's out there and he's like that. I don't, and then some people are like, ah, he's dead. He got killed doing the things that he did, but I like to think that, and Jimmy Steve is out there living a good life now. And he learned the hard way by pursuing the exotics in life.
I also hope he's not dead either. I don't know. For me, Steve and Fiona's relationship was like the core of the show for the first couple of seasons, and then obviously when he came back too. Um, so I'm just glad that you also hope, or not, may not hope, but think that he didn't just get killed off screen.
No, I love that show so much. A lot of people are like, what are you most proud of? And really the only thing I ever say is I just love that character, and I love the writing, and I love John Wells put together an incredible show, and the best group of writers, best group of actors with such a good work ethic. And it was such an honor to be on those like 4 seasons and grow with these incredible actors. We just made each other better, and just the show was so incredible. It made you laugh, but it also made you like think about things that were happening in America. It's really rare, those shows. And I'm just honored, even if I get just that one my whole career. It's like, thank you, John Wells.
Let's say I'm glad you said that too, because like being 3 hours away from Chicago, where I live, knowing that it's like that close, like I don't know. Even though the show's fake, it's not real to me. I'm like, they're only that far away. Like I wish we could go help them, or like there's just maybe just being from the area. Like there's a connection that I had to the show that I didn't think I was going to have going into it. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just like that show, along with The Sopranos, The Wire. I'm gonna say Sons of Anarchy, Weeds, Breaking Bad, etc. Like, there's not those shows anymore that are still coming out that have that like feeling of I don't know, like familiarity, but also like hooking you right away and just elevating it each season.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer
Yeah,
that
it is.
Hollywood's not doing that anymore. But there was a real heyday, and Shameless, and Showtime was killing it. Like Weeds. I I I remember getting on Weeds and being like, this writing is amazing. This character is amazing. And unfortunately and fortunately, I got War of the Worlds at the exact same time, and they didn't sign me in as that character on Weeds, but they wanted to bring me back as a regular on the show. And I was already signed on to do War of the Worlds, so I couldn't go play that character on Weeds, which I loved. I wanted to play. I still have regret of being like, man, I would really have loved to have played the arc of that Josh character on Weeds. I'm really am bummed because I loved working with Mary Louise Parker. I think that show was incredible, and I do have a little bit of sadness, but I wouldn't have had that whole experience on War of the Worlds, which was pretty interesting too. But at the end of the day, like I do think that Josh character was another Jimmy Steve,
Yeah, oh, 1000%.
and I don't see these shows. I don't see Showtime making these sort of shows, taking these risks on these weird kind of subterranean worlds anymore. And I hope somebody does start bringing these shows back. But economically, I get it. The industry is in a rough place, and they need to make surefire hits right now, which is just why they're pumping so much money into sequels and the Jack Reachers and the guy with a gun and the Marvel movies. It's just like they're like, we got to make our money back. We're poor, we're bankrupt. So hopefully, if the industry comes back, they'll start taking chances again on these weird worlds, because I think the last show that I really enjoyed that had kind of that sort of world is Raimi. I love that show, Raimi. I was like, this is good, but still Raimi I think is like 4 or 5 years old
Yeah.
right now.
I was gonna say, was there a huge difference with coming in for like the pilot episode in season one and then coming back for season eight, the last couple episodes?
I emailed Genji Kohan like for 5 years. Please just bring me back. Just please just bring me back. And yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little weird. I was like, it was cool though that she bookended me, but um I remember on that set, I have a regret from doing my performance on that set. She said, I I was doing Shameless, like I went from Shameless to Weeds. And so I was like, I don't want to come off as Jimmy Steve on in Weeds
Yeah.
because I looked exactly the same. I couldn't shave or anything. And so I was like, I'm gonna play him a little bit gay. And then Genji came up to me when I was doing the last episode. She goes, it'll be funnier if you play it straight. But I had already rehearsed it as a little bit gay because I didn't want to come off as Jimmy Steve. And she was right. When I saw it, I was like, I should have played it straight. And so that was my experience on Weeds going back in episode 8. I should have trusted Genji and played it straight.
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even notice it. Let alone like I don't when I see you in Shameless and then when I see you in Weeds, I don't see Jimmy Steve. I see Josh Wilson. So like
Oh, good.
so like I might have to go back and like rewatch that finale now just to see if I can see what you're talking about. Um,
You probably won't.
but like
This is all, I'm just letting you know inside stuff that goes on in my head years later.
I would say I loved it though. I thought it was great. I'm glad that he kind of got an end. I would love. I doubt it'll happen, but I would love the show to get repicked back up. I feel like there's still so much to explore with that show, and
Oh, it'd be amazing.
like I don't know. I miss seeing Mary in projects and stuff. Like she's not in a whole
I
lot
do
anymore.
too.
Like
I do too. She's incredible. Like one of the most badass actresses I've ever worked with. Like I think my two favorite actresses I've worked with was Emmy and Mary. It was and I'm like, where's Mary? Like I know her kid is probably like 18 years old now. She had a baby when I was on the pilot with her, so she's probably being a mom right now, which is a huge
yeah,
job. But I do wish I saw her more stuff because she's unpredictable.
she's great.
You never know what she's gonna do, which is so fun.
Speaking of Emmy, I have to ask. So, what was it like working with her on Dragon Ball before going to Shameless, and how did it change when being on Shameless?
Well, we always were had a deep connection as friends, and we went through a lot together. Like we went through relationships, and she was married, and I knew her through her first marriage and her divorce, and we stayed really good friends. And she almost got kidnapped in Durango when we were like filming Dragon Ball, and we did a ton of training together. And we had that foundation of friends, like we trusted each other, and that was really huge. um And then that always was there with Shameless because we trusted each other. We could just we could go 100%. And I think our dynamic was always like felt like family, like brother sister, and so
It
it
also felt
was
real too. Like seeing it on screen, it felt real.
yeah. Yeah, I think that there was love there, and there was also hate and frustration, but at the root of it, it was like it was she trusted me and I trusted her. And that was the foundation of creating the bubble of generating these feelings, and just going on the up and down the roller coaster, which was exhausting.
Yeah. I have one more Dragon Ball question for you. Just because one of my favorite movies is Bulletproof Monk. What was it like working with Chow Yun Fat?
Oh, he was awesome, man. I loved working with him. I mean, yeah, I was a huge fan of his Hong Kong cinema, his action cinema, and he was cool. I remember we shot in Durango, Mexico, and we were we did Tai Chi in the morning, and he's an incredible photographer. He gave me his photography book, which was a professional photography book. He's an unbelievable photographer, and he had his wife with him. So his wife would come on set after 8 hours of working, and she would drag him off set. She'd be like, "Chow is done," and then he'd get off set and he'd go home. And I was like, "Man, I got to get me one of those wives." It gets me off set at 8 hours. And he was just a great guy. He had a sense of humor. He was a trickster. He was just always a good dude. I really, really, really like Chow. He was cool. And I'll tell you a crazy story. You want to hear this?
Sure.
This is a crazy story. So 12 years later, after filming that down there, and it was really fun. I know the movie didn't really turn out very great, and I kind of knew that on the first week. I was like, I just don't have a good feeling about this. But I joined because of the storyboards. It looked like Sin City, and
Yeah.
I'd been taught. Everyone was like, "This is gonna be sick," and I was like, "Cool, okay." And then I remember a couple weeks in, I was like, "Oh man, whatever." But I had a great time. We filming up in Durango, Mexico, like central Mexico. Anyways, this is my story. So I got together about five of my friends, and we did a lot of motorcycling around America. And I was like, let's take an adventure. Like, let's ride to South America on our Harleys. And so we went down Baja. There was like five of us, and then we went across into Mazatlan from La Paz, and there was like some cartel. And I was like, okay, so there's some cartel down in like Puerto Vallarta. Let's go up towards Durango, and go the colonial route in the central, because I don't think it'll be as bad up there. Even though we were going into Michoacan drug cartel territory up into Durango, which is a huge drug hub, like that I found out later. Um, so we got off the ferry, and then me and my four buddies, we met a local Mexican group of guys, and we had bike problems. So we were like, "Hey, can you guys help us with our bikes?" And they were like, "Yeah, come party with us." So we partied with them that night, and they were pretty nice. And we went down there the next day, and our bikes were all fixed. They had no new rotors on and sprockets, and I was like, "Holy shit, these guys are amazing." Tried to pay them. They're like, "No, no, no, it's all good." Then we were like, "All right, well, we're gonna head up to Durango," and they're like, "All right, we'll ride you part of the way." So we started riding us part of the way, and they were like on walkies and stuff, and I was like, "That's a little weird." Anyways, we were going about 7 hours up to like 10,000 feet. It was around this time of year, so it was pretty cold. So we kept stopping, and it got dark as we got in towards Durango, and I lost my way because I think the road wasn't fully done yet, and we were going down a dirt road, and then all of a sudden we started getting high beamed, and this Escalade was chasing us down,
Oh, wow.
and it started high beaming us, and a black Escalade in rural Mexico. Like, who do you think that is?
There's only one
I was
answer.
I was freaked out. So they kept on driving by us and spitting rocks up on us, high beaming us, and I was like, holy shit, this is where we die. Anyways, kept going down the road. Finally, the car just pulls and stops right in front of us. And then we stopped. And I was like, I looked back at my buddies and they were just like frozen. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I just walked up with my motorcycle helmet on, like you couldn't see my face. And I see this hand, this big hand waving me over. And I walk up and there's like 5 dudes, big Mexican dudes in the car. And they all have wearing leather. And it said Knights of the Templar. And I had just seen Cartel Land, and Knights of the Templarios was the drug cartel. And the guy goes, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Justin." And he's like, "Justin Chatwin, right?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he jumps out of the car and he grabs me and he fucking gives me a hug and he goes, "Brother, I was the medic on Dragon Ball Z. I've been waiting here to fucking show you guys a good time all day long. Follow us." And the Mexican drug cartel brought us out to dinner. They brought us dancing and they got us a hotel that night in Durango. All because of Dragon Ball Z. Had I not done Dragon Ball Z, I'd probably be dead right now.
That's crazy. I mean, that's like the end part is awesome, but that's scary and crazy too.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know how I would act in that situation. Like, I don't even know if I could function, let alone like.
I was shaking. I was like pretty scared.
Rightfully so too. I mean that I don't wish that upon anybody, especially too like you said, like you're probably out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Like there's nothing that you really could do.
Worked out.
I'm glad. I think the Zoom is gonna kick me off here in about like 5 minutes, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about this movie and along with your history within film and television.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, this has been a dream of mine, so I really do appreciate it once again.
Great work. Well, thanks for talking movies and doing what you do, man.
I
It's
appreciate it.
it keeps it alive. It keeps people engaged in the world and these stories. And I really hope that the industry takes a turn and goes back to those kind of unique stories.
I did too. I mean, there's so many great things that came about in the early 2000s, and I feel like they just disappeared after like 2014, 15ish. Just time to bring it back for sure.
I agree. I agree, man.
Yeah, I don't want to take up any more time. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks, brother.
Do you mind if whenever I post these, I usually will probably make clips of it and post it on Instagram. Do you mind if I tag you in them at all?
Yeah, I'll repost.
Okay, so, thank you so much.
Awesome.
I hope you have a great week.
Thanks, Caden.
Of course.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.